All right. Here we go. Curtis's and the crew's last live before the regular season ends. Got a full stack team here. I hope everybody's doing well. I changed it to 9:30. I'm getting old. I think some of the guys here like it better too. I guess we could talk about if that's a good time for everybody. But we got a lot to talk about. There's all kinds of stuff to talk about. We'll talk about Jets, talk about things going on with Tua, not Tua. You know the whole deal, the future. This is going to be a very exciting offseason. Hopefully it's not going to be the same old. Kind of getting a little concerned about the Jets, looking at Riddick and Vrabel. I think that would be a little bit of a concern for a team over there. Groupings, considering, we got Mr. Chuckles, the potato head Greer. So anyway, what do you guys want to go hit on first? I got Abel at the top right. I got Jason. Jay, he's the man in black down on the right. And I got Dirk the Daring from Alaska, negative 41 right now at the bottom. So, we'll kick it off. Abel, what do you want to talk about? Like, what's the thing that's on your mind the most?
We were kind of hitting on it just before we got into live right now, where it's like, it's this weird, it's the same feeling again of, here we go, we're right in the middle where, it's 9 wins, it's 8 wins, and it's from you guys saying it, it hurts like this feeling of like, man, why do we get all geeked up and so geared out, every year where it's like, okay, like I know I was like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna win a Pelican this year, this is it, where it's like, okay, well, even if we get a winning season 9-8, we're in the middle of the draft, all that, like it's that mediocrity of being in the middle, and it's just it hurts, like it's, and I know, like for you, yeah. Curtis, like when you explain it, where you're like, hey, it might not be around, or like, I always see older fans like always going online, they're like, oh well this team needs to really do it, and it's like, I'm like, well, it's gonna happen. But now as I've kind of gotten older, and it's like, it's been 25 years, guys, like come on, where it's like, it's sad that we're at this point of the road again at the end of the season, and it's like, we have to wait for another 6 months. Where are we ready to back with the same regime, same GM, same coach? If that's going to happen, where it's like, this isn't going to change in an off season, like just one. So, that's just kind of what I want to take from what everybody was saying right now, and it's we have to hang in there. It's our team and we're fans, and it hurts.
Well, that's it. We're fan. You can't quit. That's the thing I learned most about Dan Marino. This guy, it was always him against the world. There's a few guys on the team or whatever, but he never quit. The only time I ever saw him quit was at the end of the Jags game. That's the only time in his last game in that playoff game that he looked resigned. He'd be down 2 or 3 scores. There'd be a minute left, and he's still chucking, yelling, never quitting, never giving up. And, I take that as, hey, look, I made a choice. It's kind of like a marriage. And for better or for worse, I'm all in on this team. But in the same token, it's like I want the best marriage possible. I want Super Bowls. I want big victories. So, that's kind of like what I come from, my mindset. But yeah, you have to. You have to be, you have to evaluate fairly, and you have to be hopeful, and you can't really give up. You can if you want. It's not like this. For me, that's how I view it. It's just a game, and if it's stressing you out, making you unhappy, then I get it. But, it's looking at the Cubs fans and the Boston Red Sox fans. If we finally get this, after all this time, just think how it's going to feel. It'd feel amazing. And I just hope that we can feel that, So what do you think, Jason? What do you think, man?
Man, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. We don't get to. It's almost like I can't just go root for another team. I'm not wired like that personally. So I don't know. It's not like even if I wanted to, even if I did get sick and tired of it, like I don't know. Which you get tired of it moments, but overall it's like there's still an excitement about football season, about your team. That's always, and at the end of the year when at least there's, like I said, at least there's still some hope, because in my opinion, hope is as good as anything. Like hope is almost better than winning, because, there's no satisfaction. There's no complete satisfaction, yet there's no complete disappointment. It's that hope, it's that excitement, something to look forward to, as opposed to already being fulfilled or something like that. So it's like a challenge, even though it's not your personal challenge. It feels like a personal challenge. You know what I mean? Like a goal of yours, whether it's to lose weight or whether it's to do anything. It's like, gonna wait for the Dolphins. Gonna wait for the Dolphins to win. When I started going to Dolphin games, I was a young kid, still popping zits on my face. So, you know what I mean? It's now I got gray hair on my beard, dude. So it's like 30 years now. Been a fan. So, yeah, still no Super Bowl. So, we're in it till the end, baby.
Yeah, well, that's the way you got to do it. I mean, look. Hope is eternal, and it can look how different teams. KC was nobody, and then all of a sudden there was somebody, and that's the beauty about the NFL. If you get the right leadership, you can turn this thing around fast. But you can't mask bad leadership. This league. What's going on, Kenna? How you doing? Have a good night, man. Hang out with us. Sean, fins up, Curtis. This is Sharif, different phone. Happy holidays. Yeah, I hope the family's okay. I can try to come on. It's my phone is not working. Oh, no worries, man. No worries. We miss you, though. You're a real smart guy. We miss your calm, cool, collected voice. When you get it together, let me know, man. Anytime. You're always welcome, your family. But, that's the thing. It's that's my point that I've always tried to make when I started doing this thing is that football is militaristic. It starts from the leadership at the top. I study military history. You look at like the Germans, they had such a fractured hierarchy as far as from Hitler down. And it was this whole sense of insecurity that they didn't have a flow through their chain of command. But with the Allies, the chain of command was very smooth. And so it all starts with leadership and it flows downhill. And that, you could say maybe Ross, but we can't really hope to where's the link? What link? Oh, you mean a link to this show? You can try to put it here. I can't put it here. Can you can email? Hold on a second. Let me see. Is that Kenna? That's you, Sharif? Sharif, that's you? Kenna? Rankin? No, it's not. That's Kenshawn. No, I don't know. If you want to come on, you can come on.
Oh, yeah. He's talking about trying to come up live in the show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
I think that's what he was.
Okay. Email me.
There's some people that.
Yeah. Email me at Curtis, CURTIS, at aceperhead.com. I'll check my email and I'll send you the link. Curtis at aceperhead.com. I'll send you the link and you come right on, man. That's cool. Definitely looking forward to that. Let's see. Let me get back to this. California. It was California. Californication. But that's the thing. Greer and Ross have a very dysfunctional leadership, and you see it all the time. And you just got to have the right leadership. And unfortunately, Ross has been part of the negative soup. But I'm hoping he changes. But we clearly need a new GM, and hope is around the corner. It really is. I believe this team could be turned around within 1 year to be a coherent team. And a coherent team means that you expect you expect something, you see it on the field, and you see a little bit of a little rising above that, and as a consistency. And then as you build on that consistency and you add talent, then you get the success that you're looking for. Like, so you look at like Denver, they've got a rookie quarterback, but they run the football, not great, but they run it. Peyton has all these crazy, beautiful concepts. He keeps defenses guessing. They've got a good offensive line and a great defense. And so there's a consistency. You kind of know what you're getting from the good teams. With us, we're not a good team, and so every single week it is something different. I want to put it in the just in case. CURTIS Ace per head. And I think that's the biggest problem with us is we've been designed so idiotically that there is no consistency. And there's a hypnotizing and masking when we're very talented on our skills and speed and we go against poor teams, we blow them out. And then people think that's the expectation, but it's really not. And it starts with a poor offensive line, inability to run the football, poor designs as far as concepts of offense. You got to be able to get to the line of scrimmage. Defense that's hit or miss. People get crazy on his defense. I think it's decent. Like, it could be a little bit better at times. I think it's constricted by an offense that sometimes doesn't help it out. But overall, we just don't have the leadership and the consistency and the physicality. And we're not portable. You've got to be portable and have an offense that can carry to different type of environments. It's critical, just like war. And so I think all these things kind of lead us to this inconsistency. But all it would take is a little bit. There's going to be, for me, in my evaluation, this whole team has been built on a poor philosophy. The philosophy was a fun ball philosophy of the previous NFL style of offense. And so we're heavy pass, heavy speed, and then on defense, we're designed to get after the passer, quote unquote, although half the guys are injured. But that's not what it's about now. Now it's pass balance, and on defense, stopping pass balance. That means you have to have some good linebackers. You can see what Brooks does for us, and he's pretty darn good.
Yeah, Brooks was awesome. Yeah, I really like that.
Oh yeah, I do. Alf had a great eval on him. I kind of was like, all right, I kind of like him. But he's a really good player for us, and he's young.
No, that was a show like a month ago. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
No. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. No, don't sweat it. Go rock and roll. What are you gonna say?
No, go ahead. No. I was just gonna say, like a month ago, I was listening to a show. I think it was after. Remember when Brooks? It was the Packers game when he said that. We were soft, and people were talking about, is he going to be here next year? And I'm like, what? I'm like, there was a show, I forgot what show it was, or there was some rumblings like, they can't keep players like that call your teammates soft. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
that's exactly what you need.
I was listening to a show. I can't remember exactly which show it was, and I had commented on there like, man, they're not going to get rid of Brooks. He's been one of our best defenders, and that's exactly, he's good in coverage. He's not a thumper, but, you pair him up with another guy. He's still a 3-down linebacker. Yeah, right, exactly. But he could play. He could still fill in for middle, but he's a 3-down guy, and I think if you get an early down linebacker next to him, you could have a nice little core right there.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to answer. Yeah, you could have one receiver, like say Hill or Waddle, is good. You need that scatty speed guy to work in space and to create some kind of leverage. But your two is terrible because neither one can really run block. They have a tendency to get injured a little bit, Hill not so much. But then you lose out on that contested catch. You lose on that physicality, and they're not so much a red zone threat, So what Greer did, he just doubled down and like the same thing over and over again. Like he created a one-trick pony, and that doesn't. There's somebody down here in the queue. I'm sorry, hold on, I got somebody in the queue here. What's going on? How do you get down there? There we got somebody over here. Hooked up Joe. I'm sorry, Joe.
What's up? Just joined. How you doing?
How you doing, brother? I'm sorry, I didn't see the little cute thing. I'm still a rookie on this thing after 3 years. So anyway,
still got Malik.
That's my 2 cents. All right, Dirk, you can get into and tell us what you think, what you want to talk about, anything we talked about previously, or just give us your ideas.
I've just been soaking it all in. That comment about the 5'9" receivers, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we definitely need a larger presence, for the end, the red zone, for that go and get them ball. We need that bad. And it seems like there's certain things that our team needs that Chris Greer is just like it's kryptonite to him. Like he's afraid to go after these things. And, obviously we all know the O-line needs to be reworked terribly. But like you said, our running game sucks. Well, why? Well, you named it. It's our offensive line. Ironically enough, our running backs, it's not their fault. I mean, you were talking on your video today, Curtis, about Saquon. and about how the system put around him is built for it, right? Well, I mean, now we're sitting here. We've got Achane and Mostert, who are both fantastic running backs.
Yep.
And I can't imagine what it would be like if we had even a halfway decent offensive line and a coach that would, instead of calling sweeps and pitches from the shotgun, to a running back running east and west, instead of that, if he would call some north-south run plays, behind a fullback, I mean, we'd be looking at a totally different team and probably 3 or 4 more wins on our season.
Oh, easy.
And that's what's killing me right now is just how, like you said, the way the team is built, it's not built for success, specifically success in the end of the season. And when we travel, can the team travel? Well, no, we can't. And we've proven it. The only teams we beat are the bad teams, and that's because the things that you need to do to beat a good team.
I think Rams were a good team, but they kind of wet the bed and their offensive line was good.
Right. Yeah, they were gutted. But I mean, that's the point, is that we need
that's like
fixed. Is that true? Arandi Gadsden's
Yeah,
I love
is he coming out this year?
Great,
I know he was. I know he was. Oh, they got a few guys coming out. Well, Mason Taylor too. I think this year or next year. Mason Taylor from LSU. Yeah, that's Jason Taylor's son.
Yeah.
Pretty good tight end / receiver. The thing is, like, when we had, now again, this was a few years ago, but like I did when we had Devontae Parker and Preston Williams and I didn't think that was Tua just didn't seem to, that doesn't seem like a good jump contested ball thrower. Like, that didn't seem to be like a strength of his, you know what I mean? Like, I remember when we had Devontae and, like I said, Preston Williams and Gesicki, it just didn't seem like Tua was he's not the kind of guy to get it high up. He could do it, but it wasn't like something he was consistently where he would get the ball, high, up in the end zone. He was a lot better, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm getting the receivers in space, but that doesn't mean that we can't use size. That's for sure for other aspects of the game.
Yeah, there's a few things.
I mean, Saquon Barkley, he could go ahead.
Oh no, I think he'd be fine with it because he throws with anticipation, he throws location, and I think you can throw. He's fine with that. I think the problem with Parker is just Parker never met. I mean, he didn't even know how to drink water for the first season or so. He just wasn't the right kind of guy, and Tua wasn't the same quarterback, and there was also offensive line issues. What you want to do with those kind of guys, you want to get some play action going. You want to get, you want to create situations where you can. And if you look at our designs for our offense, I think when 2020 he had Parker and 21, right? 2020, 21. He was Parker was here.
Well, Fitz he had his career year with Parker. Well, Parker had a career year, yeah, with Fitzpatrick.
I remember Parker had a big year in 2020. So yeah, I think he'd be fine.
But I know, like the answer.
I like that other kid. What was the other kid's name? I can't remember. You were mentioning the other.
Yeah, no, he'll be fine. I just, like you said, his anticipation,
Yeah, I think that the whole.
But usually the bigger guys don't get separation,
Yeah, well, a lot of the things too that we're seeing, it's illusions because when you have to throw the football this fast and you don't have a run game, it creates like perturbations in what the DCs are looking at and how they call and what you can call. It creates distortions. And the designs of this whole offense is really so pigeonholed, and it was really just to get out of the gate hot. But the DCs have just figured it out that it just creates so many problems. I mean, he had big receivers in college, and he could work those guys. Ken, I sent the link to you there, brother. So just click the link and come on in, and I'll bring you in.
Actually, you brought up a good subject that I was going to bring because a subject I was going to bring up. about Tua because he oh my gosh, what was I just gonna say now? Oh, I was gonna say so like because I know you're a big O line, you're big O line. So here, I guess my question would be to you would be, so let's say that we got a powerful O line, right? Let's say that we improved the O line. Or think about Tua, his stature, his size. Think about what he's good at. Do you see his game changing? I that's one thing about Tua. I don't think he's going to all of a sudden stand in the pocket, hold the ball if we get a better O line. That's not what his game is. He's that quick release thrower. Now, I'm not saying the offense can't be designed differently and we can't do different things, but I don't know if his game really changes. I can't see. He's not the guy who's going to hold the ball for 3 seconds in the pocket. It's just maybe that's me, but what your opinion is on that?
Yeah, no, I think, look, he didn't have a quick throw offense. He had the RPO in college. But any quarterback can handle extra time, And so if you watch him, he goes through the reads and he's doing it at a very quick pace. Remember, when you're a quarterback and here we go. Got Ken here. Hold on, brother. I'm trying to figure out how to do this thing here. All right, click this thing. Oh, there we go. How do we do this? Oh, there we go. Okay, sure. Sorry, I'm a total tech retard. Hey, Ken, what's going on, man? How you doing, brother? Can you hear us? When you get it worked out, just shout it out, brother. Well, even if I'm rapping. Look, if he has more time, it will allow him to develop differently, because when you're a quarterback, you're at practice and you're getting an internal clock in your head, and you kind of know when things are going to break down and who's going to break down, and then you go into the games. And so he's been trained to get this thing out super quick, and his internal clock is set for this. But any quarterback can utilize more protection, and use more time. You could see he could sit in the pocket. Problem is that the system that we have has trained him, I think, in a way that's not really conducive, because look, how many times have you seen a slant? How many times have you seen a comeback? How many times have you seen an over-under combo package to the right side to pick up 4 for a first down? Everything is designed to mask and hide this offensive line. And I'm not saying Tua is the greatest. I'm not saying that if he gets that, he's going to be this or that.
No, right.
I know he can use more time would make him better. A run game that would force a blitz he can get to the line of scrimmage. I don't know how great he will be, but it's certainly, I think, is going to help him. How you doing, Kenny? You got it there at all, brother? I think that Greer has done a lot of disservice to a lot of people in his time. And I think this whole thing has been created, and he wasn't the quick throw guy. And in fact, in 2022, when he had his best season, it was 2.35, and so that's a lot longer than what he's getting now. And so I think that even if you got to 2.35, 2.35 was the average time, his clean time to throw. And then it dropped to 2.07. Now it's like 2.01, 2.02. It's insane. And so I just think that with what he does, the release, the anticipation, get some play action in there, work. I still got to do the podcast where I would design the right offense for him. And I don't say that like with a cavalier attitude, because you can go check me in 2021. I designed the current Bills offense to a T in 2021 for them. And it's everything that I said he would be best for his skill set. I'm not saying I know it all, but I have some ability to see that. And I also saw the worm turning as far as the league. You have to lend the offensive philosophy towards pass balance. It's the sweet spot. Like the NFL, it has sweet spots for positions and prototypes and offenses and defense, and they change and alter over time. And the current sweet spot is pass balance. And so Tua, I think, would be a lot better in a very simplistic way. You would want to make sure that he has a good, strong interior, that he can go under center. He can't go under center because they know that even with Brewer, they get blown up. Look at the Lions. they are constantly under center. Majority they're under center in the red zone and the number one scoring offense. Being under center alters the perception of the defense, and it causes hesitation. It causes them to see shadows, and it gives the initiative to the offense. There's so many things that you could do to set this kid up right. And again, if he's there, it doesn't mean he's not going to wet the bed in a big moment. It doesn't mean he's not going to get injured. But this is not a conducive environment. And I think that a conducive environment will get more out of him, whatever that would be. So,
and the fact that none of our quarterbacks have done anything since, when they get in there, they get clobbered. I mean, minus the last game with some running, against a really bad 3-win team. But I mean, realistically.
Well, keep going, Joe. Keep going.
Yeah, no, that's just my take on it. I think that I'm with you 100% on the if you gave him more time, he's going to do better. It might be a good topic because we're going to be talking plenty about the off season, right?
Yeah.
About Greer and who did what right, and we need to replace Greer. We got like 9 months, and we got like 1 game or 2. Or whatever left. So maybe in this stream, let's focus on like what we got now in this game and not start talking about the draft yet. Because
sounds good, Joe.
Shit forever, right? So that's my only input on.
Just it's a good input.
Before we go live in 3 minutes.
We're already live, brother.
Yeah, man.
Oh, we're live.
I just started doing it.
I think that's right. The bigger question.
My God, that's right.
Don't sweat it, bro. That's okay. It's all good, man. It's a good idea. Kenny, look, you're gonna be on my email list. I'll email you and get on early, and we can work out the camera or the audio next time. Just try to get it in again, and I'll get you on and see if you can get in. All right, brother. So yeah, let's talk about the Jets. Let's first talk. The Broncos need to lose. And the Chiefs are benching everybody.
That's a rough.
So I don't think that no matter what, I think it's very unlikely. Hey, you there, Kenny? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You can hear me now?
I can hear you, but we got some echo.
Okay, let me see.
No worries, man. I've been doing this for years, and I'm still screwing it up. So I just don't think the Broncos are going to lose. I mean, they can. I just don't think there's a really great chance for that. But what do you guys think? And then we'll get into the Jets game.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, brother. Yeah.
No
You're rock and rolling.
All right,
man.
you got it.
All right, cool.
So what do you think, man? Tell us what you think, Kenna. What do you think about this Broncos game, and you can lead into the Jets?
Well, I feel like the Chiefs probably gonna end up winning the Broncos game, beating the Broncos, and the Jets game. Oh man, it is. We barely beat them with Tua, and I mean I know Tyler gonna bring a different dynamic, which will make the game completely different, but I don't know, man. We just had a hard time against a struggling Browns team. And for us to be a playoff contention team, that game shouldn't have been a struggle to me.
No. We're not really. That's a fantasy.
Yeah. And that's
there says it all too. I mean,
even, like Huntley did have an efficient passing game. He was hitting all the notes. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, is Tua really the best option to run this system? It is starting to show, given time, somebody else can catch on to it, which ain't nothing but timing, which is really a question of, can this offense really take deep shots, being that we are so predicated on this timing system that we're going, because, it's going to have to delay everybody in doing certain, in a certain jobs that they're doing. And I don't think our offensive line can hold up. So, I mean, Tyler Huntley might give us a shot if the Jets don't want to play spoiler alert. But if they want to play spoiler alert, I really think, we might be done.
Yeah. Anyone want to take? Anyone want to take? I got
Yeah.
something to say, but you let somebody else talk.
Yeah, I can throw in on that. I think that we're talking about the Jets here. I mean, honestly, I really do. First of all, I really do think that the Chiefs are going to beat the Broncos, and it's not so much of a popular opinion right now. I know just because of the starter situation with the Chiefs, but Andy Reid is not giving up on this game. If you guys, any of you guys watched his press conference, he is very, very steadfast and set on developing a game plan to beat the Broncos. And Andy Reid prepares his team well. So after watching that stupid press conference of his, I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs in that game. But for the Jets, we're talking about them, but we're missing one really important thing with the Jets right now. Bros, they are checked out.
They are
Aaron
absolutely.
Rodgers has given up. He sat himself in the end of that game. He was screaming at his players, picking on them when it was his fault for throwing a pass. We got DJ Reed talking about can't wait to test free agency. We got Sauce Gardner giving up. We've got uh, uh, number 5 Garrett Wilson talking about how he doesn't even want to play for the Jets if Rodgers is back. Yeah,
Who
they
said
got a
that? Who
lot of
said that?
issues. Garrett Wilson
Oh man.
straight up
I
said
mean,
it.
but if you got your chance to take all your anger out on little sister, then wouldn't you do it?
Well, here's the thing, but I don't look at the Jets as us as the Jets' little sister. I mean, the Jets haven't beat us in a couple years, and they only beat us once in the last 3 or 4. I mean,
Yeah, we got the Jets number. Just
I,
like I mean,
I,
they beat us sometimes, but I don't think this is going to be a divisional battle at all. I think this is
Yeah,
going to
but
be us kicking their ass. I think if it comes down to, and the great thing is the games are at the same time. We don't. It's not
oh
like
yeah,
the game happens and we already know we don't have a chance, right? Our players are going to be playing for it, and I think Andy Reid is the best coach that's currently coaching by a long shot, and if and when I believe that they will beat the Broncos with their backup players, just absolutely, even with the Broncos having a win. I think that I think their Andy Reid can do that, and I don't think the I don't think the Jets are up to the task, even with our backup quarterback. Our defense is too good for their offense. I think it's going to be a low scoring game, and we're just going to eke it out.
hmm
But to the question that's been floating there, let's say that happens, right? And Snoop um, does well, right? Against a Jets that's checked out. So is that enough to say if Tua says, "Okay, I'm ready to come back," and we are in a actual playoff game? Do you want Tua or do you want somebody else, Snoop?
I
Personally,
mean,
I'm going to
I'm
jump in
going
on
with
that first and say I
It's
would
true.
prefer
Yeah,
Tua, and I'll leave it at that.
I'm going with somebody else.
yeah, that's not going to be.
So
Yeah, Tua is not starting. Huntley's not starting over
real quick,
Tua in a playoff game.
I want to kind of get into the elephant in the room about this one because you kind of and Joe, you guys were kind of touching on this, but like I understand that last week was a a beat up Browns team, their season's over, whatever. But
Yeah,
it was still going up there, and it was kind of saying those narratives about yeah, it was 50, 60 degrees. Dolphins can't win in December on the road. They had a backup quarterback. Whatever. They went up there and they did it. You can see that towards the end of that game, that offensive line for the Browns, they were pretty irritated. Where they were pissed off. So I kind of went back and I was thinking, okay, and I might be off by a number here or two, but this, and I'm taking all the games since Tua's been here because I understand that we're in this position, but we're in this position, and I know that the team is built around how you say Curtis, for the architecture of it's wrong with how it's set up, all that. But since Dua's been here in 2020, we have gone in the month of December, including the playoffs. I might be off by a loss or two or a win or two, where we've won 15 games and we've lost 12, including the playoffs. A lot of those wins are against bad teams that weren't good or what have you. Looking at all the things of as far as wins is concerned, what is the best win that Tua has probably ever given us here in December for the 4 years that he's been here? It's probably going to be the Cowboys game from last year where he clinched the playoff win. Now that was granted at home. Jason Sanders kicked 5 field goals, all that. Okay, what would be probably the next best win that he would have? That would be the one against the 49ers,
The
where
Niners,
they kept us alive
yeah.
2 weeks ago. Okay. The next probably game that he had played best would be, I would say, the Bills lost where they were playing in the snow 2 years ago. If you kind of look at other games in December where they're impactful, I would say that this one, Fred Hundley from the Browns, as far as teams that are beat up or bad or whatever, where Tua was playing or any other quarterback, this one would be right there on top. And probably the Skylers loss against the Bills in the playoffs where we were going to win because of the defense. But I mean, it's a big elephant in the room now where it's like we're in this position because of him, where he's already kind of said, hey, well, if we win and if this was a playoff game, he is going to play. And I mean, what's going to happen if we do go into the Bills, and he has played good against the Bills, when he goes up there into Buffalo, or if he goes, we somehow sneak in, go into the 7th seed, we play them, and he doesn't do good, where it's like, okay, well, maybe we should have rolled out with
Yeah,
Sneak.
I'll
So,
worry about that one next week.
right,
I'll
but
worry
I mean,
about that one if it happens.
I'm just kind of
Yeah,
saying,
no,
we're
yeah, we'll
always
see about it.
we're in this position where it's
Yeah,
like,
we're
well,
on that speculation run
big,
right
I
now.
mean, but
big
isn't the fact
December
that
game.
isn't the fact that he's not playing this week consolation enough though?
That's a great
Mhm.
point. Like, I mean, the fact that he's not playing this week speaks volumes to me. I
I
mean,
mean,
that's
this
like,
is win
how
and get in.
not
This
be
is win
playing.
and get in.
We are in the playoffs. Every game's a playoff game. We've been in every game's been a playoff game since halfway through the season. How can you not be in a game? That's complete. I don't even understand it. I mean, if you were, there's no bubble wrapping him and saving him for later. I mean, this is it, man. It's right now. I mean, what are you worrying about next year for?
I
Well,
mean,
I
but
think that's
hitting.
something. Yeah. Well, it must be something. Well, it's injured. Yeah, they don't want to make that hip worse, especially if there's. Well, they don't know. They're being coy about it. Who knows really what it is? But it sounded. He said today he's definitely playing next week if they make the playoffs. So that's what he said
Uh,
today.
There's a
but he
lot
We'll
of
see what
also,
happens. I don't think it'll
but
happen. I think
but he
I think
also
the Jets.
said,
I actually the Jets played a tough game last week. They played. It was 12-0 at halftime. They left the Rodgers in the game way too long. I do not see that happening again this week. If he has a bad, I mean they played the Rams real tough a couple weeks ago. It was a low scoring game, but I mean we're not the Bills. We're definitely not the Bills, and the Bills really turned it on in the second half last week. That game was a lot closer. At halftime, and for a half it was close. And again, I just thought I was really surprised they didn't bench Rodgers a lot sooner. And then you saw when Tyrod Taylor came in. I mean, not that again it was against backups, but he moved the ball up and down the field. I mean, it was just the team had a different feel to it when he came in the game. So if Rodgers struggles for a first few series, or if they might even pull him after. Who knows what's going to this time of year? Anything can happen. There's teams have nothing to play for. He has to get his 500 touchdown or something, but he might get that, and they might yank him. Who know? Like nobody knows what's going to happen when you play teams that are completely out of it. The Broncos, on the other hand, I think it's just the game will be about us, but everybody will be watching the Broncos game. The Chiefs could definitely win the game. Do I think they're likely to win because of Andy Reid? No, I don't think. It's just different because they're 15-1. They literally have no incentive to even get up for this game. They're not worried about helping the Dolphins or the Bengals or anybody else that needs them to win. They're just, they're going to do what they have to do. They're looking out for their team, and they should. They are resting a lot of guys. They can win. Carson Wentz is a capable. I think DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, they're all playing. They got some running backs. Samaje Perine, ex Bronco. So we'll see what happens. And Denver's a young team. Denver's a young team. They got a rookie quarterback. They don't really have a lot of weapons on offense besides Cortland Sutton. I mean, they got Marvin Mims, young guy, but I mean they're a young team too. They got a good defense. I'll give them that. But they're not like they don't. They're not a team that I expect to blow anybody out. They're not a team that I'm going to be like, oh, whoa, they're playing the Broncos right now. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's a loss. No, I don't think they've earned that respect or they're that kind of team. You know what I mean?
The reason I think they're going to win is
that game.
yeah, I mean, Well, I mean, when you look at the Kansas City and Broncos game, wouldn't Carson Wentz, like, okay, we got to think about it like this: how many teams that actually still do need a quarterback, and how many quarterbacks that is getting a second chance that are rejuvenating their career? So wouldn't this Broncos game be like an audition for Carson Wentz?
Not only that, but
I
you have
mean, that's the only reason why I say it's hard to just like sleep on, this, Kansas City not gonna put any effort
Well, let me just
into
go.
it.
I just want to go over
uh,
the injury
Kansas
list.
City's going to put in effort because
I'm just going to go over the injury list.
Oh yeah, they're gonna put
Pacheco's,
in effort. I just don't
Pacheco's
think that
out.
they're like it's different,
Pacheco's out. Juwan Taylor's out. Hardman's out. Mahomes is out. Trent McDuffie's out. Watson, the other cornerbacks, is out. Bolton is out. Kareem Hunt is out. Kafalatis, he's out. Kelsey's out. Justin Reed's out. And Tranquil's out. So they're down to their three starting interior offensive linemen. They struggle with the left tackle. The right tackle is going to be whoever. Kelsey's out. And so the defense is gutted. They almost lost to the Broncos at home by 3 points. It was just a miracle missed kick. And, as much as I like Andy Reid, to me, Sean Payton's is good. Sean Payton's as good. And so I think that they're going to be home. They're going to, with all these starters out, you're getting into the depth. But then remember that the depth guys are taking the starting position. So you're going to go into your third tier for some real snaps. And so for me, I think the Broncos win. If they lose
I agree that the Broncos should win.
Real good coach. It could happen.
The Broncos blow it. Yeah, right. Yeah. The Broncos could definitely win. I mean, the Broncos could definitely win. But
yeah, and then as far as Huntley, guys, you have to understand, it was like 13-3, and there's no offense. There's literally no offense. Ward went down. They had no cornerbacks. They had good linebackers and a good front. But that's a game that we should really handle if we're anything. Huntley, I think, is a good player. I think people really went a little too far in my evaluation with the win. The weather was good aside from the wind, and it wasn't. It was a little bit of rain and stuff. This game might have snow and it's going to be 35 degrees. And I think somebody else put in there, these guys, they might. No, look, if you sometimes guys will tank, but they're looking for other teams to sign them, and they might have a new GM and definitely have a new GM and a new head coach. So they're looking to put good tape on. I think this game is going to be very tough. It looks like Tehran might play, and that will go a long way for us. But how long will he remain? How long can he stay there? And if then not, you got, Clementine at right tackle and Paul at left tackle. And then you got who you got inside, Wynn, who's not really healthy, and Eichenberg, and then Hunt. And so, Quentin Williams is going to – they lack edge guys, and so he might be able to run the football.
Well, I heard Q's out.
Oh, is he really? Quentin Williams is out?
I heard he's out for the game.
Wow.
Quentin Williams is out, yeah.
Oh, that's a big shift, and I didn't see that.
I think C.J.
Mosley's out too.
Yeah, he's done for the year. He's been done.
Yep.
He didn't play
Gardner.
Sauce Gardner's out. Yep.
He was out when he played us too, though, the last time. The good thing is Waddle's coming back in.
Yep.
But last you got to also look to the Browns and Waddle. Yeah. Oh, but the Browns, they look at the Bengals, something like that, or 24-14, or. It was they beat the Steelers. The Browns did. They beat the Ravens. They played the Bengals tough both times they played them. It's just Browns
they had
are
a quarterback.
Totally
they didn't have DTR. They didn't have DTR and the defense.
Yeah, they had DTR. Yeah, they did. Well, not when they beat. But they beat the like it's not. When they played the Steelers, when they played the Bengals both times, and they played them really tough. But it was the thing is with the Browns is their offense is we did hand it 3 yards per play, a little over 3 yards per play. We handled their offense. It was their defense that gave us trouble,
Oh,
and
yeah.
their front.
They have
I mean,
no
which
offense.
was
He's not a
which
professional
they've done
quarterback.
to a lot of teams.
Yeah, DTR is not a professional quarterback.
Right, but I'm saying, but I'm saying, but we handled them though. I mean, I not offensively, but their defense is tough. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
they
the
do have a
front.
really good front. The Browns, yeah, their front is really good, which has given a lot of teams problems all year. So I wouldn't, I hate to say like, oh, well, we should have beat this team 40-0. You know, it's like I thought the first half was a little shaky and there was way too many self-inflicted wounds, penalties and stuff. But other than that, I thought the game was I never really was worried about losing that game.
Oh, no,
To be
no.
quite honest
Because
with
they
you,
had
after
no
halftime,
offense.
I
They had no offense.
never thought that.
Literally, it's the worst offense in the league. So for me,
So what do you mean by we should have handled them? What does that mean?
well, it was
What
a
does that
struggle.
mean that we should have handled them?
But it was a struggle. Like
Oh.
they got into the red zone. They got into the red zone, and then they had some bad calls. They lost Ford. I mean, we really had to work it. It was 13-3 up until the very end when we had the touchdown or whatever. But we were struggling big time in order to handle that team. That's a team that, and they had basically 4 guys on the D line, 2 linebackers. They lost Ward right away. They had Judy, who dropped everything that he caught. They had no quarterback, and they lost Ford. The only reason they stayed in business is because of the trenches. They managed their offensive line still pretty good, and they were still able to run the football effectively. But we couldn't really run the football. We were supposed to win. We had Hill, we had Janu, we had Achan. So for me, that's not even.
Did you
like
see the Chiefs when they played them a few weeks ago? Did you see that game? Did you see the Chiefs and the Browns a few weeks ago? What they did to Mahomes? Mahomes got obliterated that game. The game he got injured. Like the Browns defense was the problem is they turned the ball over 6 or 7 times, and that's why the Chiefs won. But the Chiefs offense didn't do much of anything all game. I mean, they
haven't done much anything all season.
They manhandled. But I'm saying though, their defense is tough. I mean, the Browns defense is not a team you're going to move up and down. I mean, you can pass on them, but they're tough at home. I mean, I really don't, it is what it is. And we had a backup quarterback, but at the same time, I thought we pretty much handled them last week, in my opinion. I didn't think that was but at the same time, we're not a team to blow another team out. Like, and we're not going to beat a team 40-0. I don't think we're that good, no matter who we're playing. So I just don't see that happening, so.
Does anybody remember in that game?
Oh, we lost Kenna?
He dropped about 10 minutes ago.
I'm
so slow. I think he put some in the chat.
Did he? I'm sorry. I was listening to you guys.
Does anybody remember any time in the last 15, 20 years when there was a team that threw 4 intentional grounding penalties in one game?
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
4 from DTR. Insane.
Well, that means the pass rush was getting home.
Yeah, definitely.
Calais' mic'd up was really cool.
See, I saw Achan 25 yards. Yeah, but Achan, they didn't even use him after halftime after the first quarter. Really, he had 7 touches the first quarter, and I think he had like 4 or 5 touches the rest of the game. I'm not sure what that was about, but I guess they just felt like going with Mostert more of the inside runs or something last week.
I think the slick ground.
They used Mostert, Wilson.
I think they figured the slick ground. They couldn't run inside.
Yeah, Achan couldn't break. He couldn't break at all.
Yeah.
But I will say, we're talking about this defensive front of the Browns, and they are a good defensive front. So when we're watching that game, and I'm watching Patrick Paul the whole time, going up against probably the best
one-on-one
in the game, one-on-one, the entire time, and he had his slight mess ups here and there. But I mean, after watching that, if they put, I mean, man, I know they're not gonna, but if they would just put him on the other side. If Teron's going to play, slide Patrick Paul off to the other side. I mean, anything is going to be easier than what he did last
year. I agree, Justin. I couldn't even.
So.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't, It's hard. It's a shame because they're so busy cross training people. I should have kind of got him a little more prepared. But I think they're really concerned about trying to get him ready for next year at left tackle.
Yeah.
They don't want to mess with that because he's looking pretty good. But you can see there's some things that he's got to keep working on. You want to keep building confidence. You've got to get him prepared for next year because Tehran's is not coming back.
What a confidence builder it must have been for Patrick Paul last week.
Oh man, Garrett is the best in the business,
dude. Yeah.
Horrible. Yeah, and another thing that I noticed last week too was that there was a couple of I think it was a couple of 1 or 2 sacks. One was with Wilson and one was with Mostert. And I don't know what's going on this year, but they're not chipping like they're supposed to. Literally, Mostert runs right past, and it was to the right side. I remember. Because Huntley dropped back. So who was on the right? Lamb went out, right? Or was it Lamb? No, Lamb played the whole game. So it was on the right side with Kendall Lamb. Mostert runs. The guy takes the hard edge. And it happened against San Francisco, too. He takes the hard, he takes a rush hard. And Mostert just runs right by him, doesn't chip him or nothing. And it's like, I don't understand why our backs are not chipping. That buys even that extra millisecond for the quarterback, whether it's Tua, Huntley, it doesn't matter. You got to chip, especially these good defensive ends like Garrett, like Bosa.
Oh, yeah.
Leonard Floyd. You can't have them wrecking the game, bro, especially one-on-one situations where, our young left tackle or even Kendall Lamb is one-on-one with these guys, with Bosa or Garrett. You got to chip them, bro, So I don't know.
I remember I forgot what game early in the season. Mostert didn't do that, and Tehran looked at him. He went inside to help Jones, and then
Packers.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is Aaron Rodgers at 499 touchdown passes right now?
Yeah.
So is he's starting this week?
Yep.
Yeah,
he's starting.
Start. Yep.
That's going to be very interesting. That's great. It kind of sucks that I got to watch the Broncos game and the Dolphins game at the same time. I have to put it on 2 screens or whatever. I got very little attention span, so.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. I'm going to be live streaming the second half on my channel, and I'm going to be watching the Broncos game on my phone, and I'm going to have the Dolphins game on my It's going to be a mess. I can't wait.
What's your channel? The Frozen Fins fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good show, man. Check it out.
Oh, Frozen Fins. I gotta check that out. Yeah, I didn't know.
Shameless
check that out.
As you got to do it, brother. Don't be like me, man.
I don't usually do it. I don't usually do live streams on the weekend because I'm too busy. But but I'll definitely check it out, bro.
Thanks.
So this
year, this week.
Where's Jalen Wright?
He's still here, man.
How come we're not using him?
He's here. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. Jeff Wilson, why is he still on the team?
I don't know.
Why is Jeff Wilson still on the team?
There's money locked in. He's locked in financials.
Nah, come on. That's not what 200,000 or something, or 250,000 or something.
Is that what it is? I thought it was more.
They should have got rid of him a long time ago.
So I
just don't know. Like they traded up to get Jalen Wright.
I see what he's
traded up to get him, bro. It's like, what are you trading? Huh?
Rodgers starting, we are cooked. Here's one small thing about that. Rodgers has played one game all season. One game all season that was a good game. That's it. Yes, that game was.
He's had a few good games, but
there's only been one game where he was right at 300, a couple good touchdowns.
No, he had a good game against the Patriots. He had a good game. Oh yeah, 300. Yeah, 300.
Yeah, that's it. He's only had that one game now, and I know it was against Miami. I know it was against Miami, but
he actually played Buffalo really well at the first time. He had a big game against Buffalo, and so did Garrett Wilson.
I feel
a lot of quarterbacks are struggling to get 300, man. It's not easy anymore.
No, and I feel really good about this game just because of what Anthony Weaver has been talking about and the way he's been running his practice. He's aware that the best game Aaron Rodgers had all year was against his defense, and he's been beating it into the team. I don't think this game's going to play out the same for Aaron Rodgers. I guess we'll see. I mean, time will tell. But on the defensive side of the ball, I'm a little more optimistic than I am about our offense right now for this game. Like I said, we'll see how it goes. But
I think
really
I think it's all going to come down to us setting the tone, and if the Jets have cashed it in or what, like because if the Jets, well, you could tell the game they come ready to play, like they can, they put up they play good, like against the Texans, like when they played the Bills the first time, when they played when they played us that last time. They get up for games. They got talent on the team. They just, last week after halftime, it was just like they realized that, all right, we're not winning this game. And everybody just, their body language was absolutely awful. In the third quarter and fourth quarter was just terrible. So I don't know if it was Rodgers or what, but the team just looked like they did quit in the third quarter last week. But it hasn't really been like that all year for them. They usually play competitive games.
They'll be home too. That also gives you a little bonus to want to do your thing. So we'll see. It's an unknown. So I don't know. MCD. That's been my take. He's an A-B gap runner, and he's not an outside edge runner. He doesn't have that kind of speed. I mean, he's fast, but he's better inside. He's a one-cut guy. So yeah, we've got to get a different offensive line for him to really pop. And I don't know what his pass protection's like.
But I still don't know why he's playing over Wilson, bro. I don't know why Wilson's playing over him. That still doesn't make any sense.
A lot of things don't make sense. A lot of things don't make sense.
Yeah, there's validity to those rumors that he's talking about there.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was reported on SI.com. I mean, as valid as that can be.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm hoping.
Definitely.
I just hope it's not a fire. I feel like that was leaked out. I'll take that. I'll take
leaked out for like. Yeah. I feel like I don't know. This feel like I don't know, something the Dolphins would leak out just to like put the fan base to rest. Like I don't know.
Yeah, this is my final eval for Ross. Depends on what he does. So he's got him.
The only issue I would say about getting rid of Greer right now is that what reputable GM, like what respectable GM are you going to get at this point of where you're at as an organization? You can't just get a GM a respectable GM that's going to be have to keep Mike McDaniel, that has to be tied to Tua, that has to deal with our cap issues, that can't really form the roster in his mold. And and I'm sorry, but
I'll take Marvin Allen. Look, if you get rid of Greer, and I would prefer not to hire Marvin Allen. I want somebody outside to come in. But I would just take anything, get rid of Greer. Anything, get rid of this guy. To me, I just don't. I think he's a wormy kind of man. I'll take Marvin Allen. It's not what I'd prefer, but I would take it over Greer. I'd take anybody.
An interim GM, like an interim GM. Yeah, they should not be allowed to trade our draft picks, our high draft picks. Nobody, even Chris Greer, I don't care if he stays or who stays. Nobody should be allowed to touch our draft picks for the next 4 years. None of them, our high draft picks. And you know what I'm saying? No more trading away. This team has to start building through the draft. There's no trading for players and acquiring superstars and blah, blah, blah. None of that crap. And paying them to. This team has to start building through the draft. That's it, in my opinion. That's how you change everything. Because look at the Lions in one draft, the last 2 drafts. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Branch, Jameer Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Then they got the year before Anzalone, Hutchinson. I mean, that's how you build. And then you could sign your quarterback to your slightly above average quarterback or good quarterback to a big contract when you have the whole team on young rookie deals. And you could sign your receiver that you drafted in the 5th round, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can make those kind of moves. You can't just go paying for people, trading your draft picks, have no depth, that's just not the way to build the organization, in my opinion. Now they're stuck. I don't see how
Listen, you're going to make me do a Greer tirade here. This is the most moronic, idiotic build I've ever seen in my life. Chris Greer is really there's something I think wrong with him mentally. You have to no, I'm serious. You have to understand. Right. You have to understand what he did with this whole design was counter to everything that is foundational in the NFL. I mean, simple things. Think about the things that he's done, just even outside of that. So he's fighting with Flores. You don't like him, you don't like him. He cuts Van Noy to spite him. And then he ships out Flowers when you got your rookie quarterback in there. And he lets Karras walk, who then has like almost a Pro Bowl season the next year. You let your quarterback get the snot beat out of him just to spite your coach. And then you do stupid stuff like, you don't tell Fangio who you're sending down to the practice field. There's something seriously wrong with this guy, both like in his psychology and then also in his understanding of football. How do you not see Van Ginkel? And then you spend a ton for Chubb. Like, how do you not see that? It was so clear. You Sam, edge player, like a Swiss Army knife in Van Ginkel, and you got Phillips on the other side. You save yourself a ton of money. You've drafted. You even make your resume look better. But I think part of the reason he didn't like Van Ginkel because Van Ginkel was a Flores guy. And so he didn't want, there's some kind of, it just didn't seem like it made football sense. To me, he takes things personal. And his son, like, what GM's going to come out?
2 years, $20 million.
Dude, what GM's
2 years, $20 million. Forget, and they signed Barrett to an $8 million deal or whatever. Like, what? Tell me how that makes sense, bro.
Because
tell me how when you're a team desperate for pass rushers, how?
There's something in the back scenes.
Oh, that was just the worst. I just don't get it, bro. Fangio wanted to keep Van Ginkel last year, or he probably would have left last year.
Yeah. And Fangio got him back. There's something wrong with this guy mentally. And just his overall concept of how he drafts and how he
takes it personal. Take it personal.
Yes, something. Because he's weak. He's weak. Like even when I do this thing, like I sniff out weakness. I'm a forthright guy, and I can say hard things to people, and they say it back to me. I don't care; it doesn't bother me. But you say something like even like a light thing to them, and they start getting crazy, and they start getting angry, and they start like that there's a weakness there. Like, how does Chris Grier come out and mock the fans to their face? Yeah. After this whole history, then he gets proven wrong, and then he doubles down on his talent by not doing really anything. And then, he gets Paul, but Paul's not going to really help you. And then he doubles down in philosophy. This is the best offensive line, I feel. And how can McDaniel? Either McDaniel's high on crack, or he's being told to say something. And when you watch him sit there, he almost looks like he's held hostage when they do stuff, and it's just a joke. Listen, we've heard for years that Chris Grier just does what the coaches want. He's just a nice guy. What nice guy is going to screw the head coach over by cutting Van Noy after a mega contract and then getting rid of Flowers and getting rid of Karras and letting your quarterback get the hell beat out of him? And who would keep Eichenberg?
Deshaun Elliott, another move. Why, like, we go and sign Jordan Poyer, and we couldn't sign Deshaun Elliott, re-sign him. He was good here last year.
Nope.
No, I just don't get it. Even Landon Roberts, we didn't have any middle linebackers last year.
Yeah, there's something wrong with that guy. He's got to go. I mean, even just this another thing, he's losing to the Titans, and you see his face. He looks like he just got out of a bender, and then they put the camera on him and slinks back. Like, he's just weak. He's weak. He's weak, and his weakness leads to insecurities, and then he goes down these ridiculous rabbit trails. And he gets lost in the sauce of his own hype. It's sad. Anybody but Chris Grier. Anybody.
Well, I know this whole thing seems like a mess in the GM situation. And I know that, believe me, Curtis, you can vouch for me. Every video I make, I say fire Chris Grier. But this situation is
I'm just not
it's not a sad situation for prospective GMs to look at. This is actually a very positive one when you think about it, because the solutions are right in front of your face.
How?
And, let me tell you, the solutions are right in front of your face. and we have the ability to solve these issues very quickly. Now, you said we're stuck to Tua. We're really not. After this year, or after next year, rather, we have an out. It's not the greatest out in the world, but it is an out. We have a way to get out from underneath Tua. If a new GM comes in,
I mean, you can get out of it. You just give them a lot of money.
Yeah, not that much though. If you look at that contract, if you look at it, it's not as bad as you'd think.
No,
After
they
next year,
definitely. That's why
if they
it took
get rid
so
of him
long.
by this March, then they only owe him $50 million.
next year they
right?
would be stuck with
If
him
they
for
get
one
rid of
more
him by
year.
this,
One more year. And
no,
then,
but if they get rid of him, if they get rid of him by March 14th of this year, they actually would save themselves, I think, $50-something million or more than
57,
that, something
57.
like that. Because
57.
they would only owe him what they gave him already, and then next year. But
Right.
then if he's on the roster after March, then they guarantee his 2026 salary, and then and plus whatever guarantees are at the end. But yeah, they would save. Yeah, the bottom line is it's definitely you're going to be looking at that contract for the next 3 or 4 years hitting your books, but not just
you're
him
also
though. It's
looking.
Tyreek.
You're also looking. Yeah, but I mean, you're also looking
Waddle.
at the fact that we have a
And-
good draft class coming up. We have a lot of draft picks in this class.
How?
As well.
But you have to draft well to do that. You have to draft
and that's
well. Like,
why-
where's our draft picks the last 4 years? We don't have any in the pipeline.
You're talking about Chris Greer. I'm talking about
I just
moving
don't
on
see
from him. It gets somebody else in the office that can make
Right. No. Yeah. So we have our picks, but my point is you don't have a lot to work with as a GM besides picks. I mean, and like I said, you don't, and you would have to keep the coach, and you'd have to, usually GMs, respectable ones, that's all I'm saying. They usually don't, I don't know. They usually like to tear it down, or something like that.
Right.
And they don't
or
want
they can.
Garfunkel, because Garfunkel's been out there like way too in the mix too.
He's the Rasputin, man.
I mean,
There's also,
you don't want a GM. There's no GM in the world that's going to come in here and have Garfunkel telling him anything. You know what I mean? Garfunkel can funkle off because they're not going to have it.
Yeah, it's a weird.
So that's where Jay makes a good point.
It's
gonna be really
but
hard.
isn't he like the stadium guy or something? He's just the stadium guy, isn't he?
He's the CEO.
Isn't he just the stadium? Oh, he is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's CEO.
Gotcha.
But CEO,
You got Brandon Shore. You got
Besides, I'm going to put something out here and make something happen. He should like there should be, even like Chris Greer should have no say in who goes on the field. This whole keeping the offensive line. You've seen it. The weakness that Curtis is talking about with Chris Greer is obvious in everything that's happened in the last years, as far as the selection, like Eichenberg still being here, just everything. It's just crazy.
The Liam Eichenberg project.
Just think about it. We had the offensive line coach wanted to put Jones in over him, and there was arguments back and forth to the weekend, and he was gone the next season. And we got Butch Barry. And put in Butch Barry we trust.
Yeah. Penei Sewell.
Penny Sewell over Jalen Waddle.
I actually thought I think the O-line, but when I thought the O-line's actually done decent in their pass block, and their run block has gotten progressively worse. But I thought they've, especially earlier in the year, when they were building that continuity and everybody was kind of staying healthy. The O-line they're not good, but I thought they did. They were showing some signs there.
But they were throwing so
together,
fast, man. We throw so many screens. We throw so fast. Like if you try to put together, like say, a conventional pass offense, they can't block that long. Look at the time. Anytime that we start getting into like, I'm sorry, what? You there, Jason?
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry. Yep.
No, you got to remember, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to evaluate this offensive line because there's a lot of obfuscation, a lot of illusions, a lot of smoke and mirrors. In my opinion, in my evaluation, it starts with the inability to move anybody in the run game, and it extends out to you have to create all this pass rush mitigation. And you're talking about throwing ultra fast, throwing tons of screens, and then running play actions. And that's not really how that's not how you should have your offense set up. You need to have your screens limited because screens really, they're there to take advantage of pass rush and blitz. You can't like have that a staple. 20%, 1 out of 5 throws is a screen. And, you've got to put more, you have to have more true pass set. You've got to let the clock rise a little bit more. And it's also, then it also extends out into the inability to run the football inside. And so all that in conjunction, if you say, hey, let's, bring a conventional offense in here, they couldn't run it. Jackson's not good. He can't run block. He still is like lost at times. I mean, if you throw the football at 2.1, 2.15, maybe 2.2, he's like, okay. But in football, it's 1 or 2 plays.
I just think though with Tua's injuries from a couple years ago, having 3 concussions in 1 year, and then his history, I think the offense was designed that way. Number 1, to protect him. Number 2, because they weren't going to invest a lot in the offensive line, because they all have money invested everywhere else. They designed the offense tailored more to the roster, to the quarterback, to the weapons that they have. They did all that thinking that would be the way to win, because they can't just line up and play smash mouth football. Now you're talking about a whole organizational philosophy change. I mean, I just don't see that happening while we have this quarterback, this head coach, I don't see anything I just don't see it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see how they're going to just all of a sudden turn into a ground and pound team, get big receivers, get 2 guards, do all that, and be able to do all that in the next couple of years.
Well, it's not ground and pound.
It's
pass balance. It's the ability to.
Well, but it's being physical. You're physical.
Yeah, but you can't.
Physical,
I mean, there's
right?
problems. I agree and I disagree. So, Justin said Brewer's great in run blocking. He's good at getting on the move and getting to the second level, but he gets pushed around a ton. He's small and he gets pushed around a ton. So if you're running like inside zone, he struggles a lot. When you get into the red zone, he struggles a lot. And so I do agree in a certain
against the big nose tackle.
Because he's just is not his strength. It's always been his weakness. He struggles against power. So I do agree. This whole offensive line would have to be rebuilt. The only guy I would keep is Paul, and I don't know where he would fit into the equation, like as a starter or right tackle, left tackle, whatever. I think the guy's got potential. I think he's a piece of any team's puzzle at some level. But Jones doesn't fit in unless you could keep him as a backup and
he's gone.
Right guard.
Yeah, maybe.
He's a solid guy to have on your team, in that depth, not as a starter. But Brewer, I think, is going to force you to have problems if you change to more conventional pass balance type offense. Jackson, you can use him for a stopgap, but he's not a long-term guy. Obviously, Eichenberg's gone. Keon Smith, all the rest of these guys are no good. So you would have to rebuild that thing, but you can just not next year because, you could, I don't think you should get off Tua so much. I don't know how much money's locked in. You might want to.
Well, let's even say they keep up for 3. Let's say they keep him 3 more years. Let's just say for kicks and giggles, they keep him. We're looking at 3 more years with Tua, right? That sounds reasonable. Not too long, not too short. We're not getting rid of him right now. That's not going to happen. He's got 3 years, fair, right? 3, 4, maybe 4. I don't see him being here 10 years. I don't see him being here 6 years. I don't see anything like that. So probably 3 or 4 years at most is what I see, unless he wins a Super Bowl or something. But I mean, what can they do in 3 years? They're going to bring a whole new coaching staff in. I just don't know. I don't see how that happens with a whole new philosophy and a whole gut the roster and do all that while he's on it. I don't know. Maybe they do that and just groom another guy, draft a young quarterback for the future. Maybe Tua's kind of like just ride it out with him. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I don't know how they do it. How do they do all this? They got holes on defense. They got so many holes.
A good GM comes in and tries to maximize every asset. Now, that maximization can be getting rid of a guy. It could be utilizing him to get some assets in the future. And, look, a GM might come in and say, hey, look, I can't trust him to his health. Or he could say, hey, this guy's kind of reminds me of Jimmy G. So maybe I can, develop something, get a third or fourth down the road if he doesn't stay healthy. But in the process, I'm going to build the foundation of my team. And then I'm going to try to get a guy behind him. I'm going to find some good value because, look, Mayfield was out there for nothing. Darnold was out there for nothing. Even hear him talking about trading for the kid that the Vikings drafted. Goff, he got, it's almost a song and a dance. Not really, but sort of. There's a good GM that builds the right foundation. Look at the Steelers. I mean, they're not going to win a Super Bowl, but they're going to the playoffs, and they just pulled Fields and Wilson, but they had the right team.
Yeah.
And so, you want to build
Would
a
you
winning.
Would you give up a third round pick for Tua if you're a team? Would you give up a third round pick
Not
for Tua?
now, no,
Or a
not
second
now.
round pick with his contract?
Maybe, it depends because I still believe. I don't know what this kid can do ultimately, but I believe
He will be here 3 more years. I don't want him to be here, but he'll be here 3 more years unless there's something. Like I said, unless there's some crazy thing that happens, he's going to be here 2 or 3 more years for sure, at least. Unfortunately, but sorry,
to me, I don't really think I don't think it's that big a deal in any way because this team is not set to do anything.
Yeah.
And okay, maybe you could.
I agree.
Look, if you're a GM and you're really a ballsy GM, and you could come in and say, "Hey, look, I'm going to cut to post June. I save $31 million. I lose $8 million. I'm going to trade to Hill post June. I'm going to get rid of Chubb post June. Get rid of Tehran post June."
No, they can do that too.
Yeah, they can. The money's
2.
there.
You can only do 2 post June.
Oh, 2 post June.
2 post June first per year.
So you can get rid of So you're going to have to get rid of Tehran and Chubb if you want. But you could probably could trade Chubb.
Yeah, this year I think.
Next year but remember you could even trade. You could even trade these guys if you want and take the money hit. So you can dump.
No. So wait a minute. You can only do 2 designations, 2 post June first cut designations. So that means you can cut them in February or March. And then designate them as a post June 1st cut. That doesn't mean you can't cut them after June 1st. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
no,
you just can't designate
them
to
push
be
the money to the following year.
Yeah.
Right.
The 4 guys you got to get rid of is Chubb, Tehran, we'll say 2 in this case, and Hill. Because you can trade Hill, and that's not going to count as a designation. You can get something for him. You could probably trade Chubb for something too and get something, even if you just want. And then you can put a designation on 2 other guys. But you got to have to get rid of Tehran. You can't go into.
Well, Chubb's going to be cut. Chubb doesn't have any more guaranteed money on his.
He doesn't have any more guaranteed money.
So he would have to. No more guaranteed money after this year. He has dead cap hits for like what we have dead cap we owe him because of the signing bonus, but he has no more guaranteed money after this year. So he's going to be definitely a post June 1st cut. So
So how much money is the hit?
He'll definitely be a post. It's 20 million savings, and then I think next year it'll be. I think it's a $9 million hit, and then 14 million next year or something like that. Or I think we saved 20 this year, I believe.
You only got $4 million in cap, so it's going to be very interesting next year.
Yeah, this team, we're the lowest. Yeah, I think we're number 1 or number 2 in the lowest. We have the least amount of cap space. They'll open some up, but they don't even have a lot of restructurable contracts. All their big money is tied into older players. Ramsey, Hill, Waddle. Well, Waddle's not older, but they just gave him his contract. That hasn't even kicked in yet. Tua, you're not going to want to restructure Tua. I don't know. Like I said, they got a mess. We'll get into that one day. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get into that one day. That's a show. We can do a whole show on that when it gets.
Yeah, there'll be multiple shows.
Probably a long one too.
Currently, the Dolphins are 4th.
Yeah, they got holes, man. They got holes. They got.
At least we're not the Saints. 67 million in the hole for the Saints.
Wow.
Browns are 18 million. The Seahawks are 8 million. And we're above 4 million. Those other 3 teams are below.
I think the Saints been kicking the can for like 20 years already. Ever since they got rid of they still been kicking the can for those years.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, so let's round it up here. Everyone go across the board. What do you think the Broncos game and the Dolphins game? Give me a score and winner.
All right. For the Broncos game, I'm taking the Chiefs 21-17. For the Dolphins game, I'm going 31-17 Miami.
Ooh, nice. Ava, what about you there, brother?
For the Dolphins and Jets, I'm gonna say Dolphins 23, Jets 10. For Broncos, Chiefs, I'm gonna say Chiefs 20 and Broncos 17. It's gonna be hopefully fingers crossed, please. I don't care if we go to Buffalo. We made it. We're in. I don't care. The praises of Greer, the defeat of Greer, whatever. Who cares? Playoffs 3 years in a row. Let's do it. Let's go. And like what Jay was saying. That's what it's all about. It's just making it and hey, shocking the world. So
be happy, man. Be happy.
Yeah. Mhm.
Hey, Carla, what's going on? She says Carla's
Hey,
got
Carla.
29-23 Miami.
Yeah.
That's it. That's an odd score. That'd be a good score.
I
think the
got
Broncos.
6 Jason Sanders field goals.
No,
I think
got
Dolphins
Broncos.
win 18-16.
Yeah.
18 Dolphins win 18-16. All right, what about you, Joe? I guess I'm gonna go last. I didn't want to go last. I guess I gotta go last.
21-16 for us. We're going to win. We're going to beat the Jets 21-16. And then the Kansas City Chiefs are going to beat the Broncos by about 6 points. And it'll be about, let's see, that would be 20 to whatever 6 points to 14, something like that.
Oh.
All right, I think the Broncos win. I think they're gonna win like 24-17 or something. But I think we'll win. I think Quinn Williams not being in, they don't really have any front now. I think we'll win. I think it'll be like, I think there's going to be snow. It's going to be cold. I think it'll be like a 17-24 win, unless something we totally wet the bed. But I think the Dolphins will win. But unfortunately, I just don't see I think Peyton's going to have this team up. So those are my 2 scores. Unfortunately,
Did you say it's going to snow?
If
yeah,
for
they say
any
there's a
reason-
chance of snow. There's a chance of snow.
If for any reason the
Under
Bucks
NFL
win,
weather.
and if we lose, we're all gonna lose it. It's gonna be crazy.
Can you imagine the Broncos lose and the Dolphins lose? I could actually see that happening now. Oh man, Broncos. We're all
Yeah,
watching the
imagine
Broncos. Yes, and the Dolphins end up losing. Oh my gosh, yeah,
that would be
our
the
luck
worst
right
case
there,
scenario.
bro.
That would be the worst case scenario. I hope you guys are right. Though.
Yeah,
I
think
hope
that-
it'd be very interesting to see the Dolphins in the postseason. We'll see. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you coming
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
It's I'm starting to turn into a pumpkin. I'm getting tired. So I got to roll. Everybody, thank you for
we
coming
were
in
not
tonight.
losers when we were
Thanks for having us.
No,
We were not
thank you.
losers. Thank you guys. Happy
And
New
thank
Year.
you for the commenters. Thank you guys for stopping in on the live. I appreciate it. We're going to keep doing this. I'll keep working on getting better. I'll take some more Geritol for next time and have some more energy for you. So you guys are the best. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the game. And let's hope we do go to the postseason. But no matter what, let's hope that Greer gets fired. Have a good night.
Fingers crossed.
I agree.